So the idea that your environment is an extension of your physical body. Um, I think there's a little more to be said here, and it's important that it's stated. So notice that if you have a bad environment, you will obviously have a bad physical body. A bad environment will cause disease and sickness. And what you aim to have is a good environment so you can be healthy and comfortable. So if your environment can affect your physical body in that way, it's definitely a part of your physical body. So the question is, what is it that creates that separation originally? Like, why would you think you are separate from your environment? Did someone tell you that and you believed it? Or is that how it appears? Notice how you define your versus there. So you say, I am here. What's here is my clothes, my head, my hands, my feet. And what is out there is the environment, and therefore it's separate from me. But notice that when you explore your environment, you are using your five senses to navigate and explore your environment. And where does perception take place? Perception doesn't take place out there, it takes place here through your five senses. All perception happens in your mind. The only reason you know an apple can nourish your body is because it is your mind that gives meaning to that apple. And it takes the apple from the environment and consumes it. It dissolves that separation from there to here. So think twice about your definitions of here versus there. When most of what you think is out there is actually right here. You think a child, if you ever looked at a child, you think a child sees that disconnect between itself and its environment? I don't think so. Even though a child does not express it in that way, I don't think a child sees a disconnect between itself and its environment. It's only when the child explores its environment and takes an action that hurts its physical body, it starts to create that separation that says, okay, I feel some pain, so I am here and I am not there. And the child, this belief is reinforced as the child grows up. But the child, as he or she grows up, fails to realize that any impact he or she has on the environment will come back to it, will negatively affect it in the long run. But we ignore that part. We only care about what's happening here. If I were to take you and drop you off in the middle of a desert, you will have a really difficult time surviving, where the nights are really cold and the days are really hot. Or if I were to drop you off in the middle of a war-torn nation, where people are always fighting and struggling to survive, life would become extremely difficult in that environment. So you can't really separate yourself from your environment. And even if you think you are separate from your environment. That's just the mind telling you that. That's just perception telling you that. And you're going along with it. So, what can you do to strengthen your connection to your environment? To stop seeing that separation, but seeing a connection instead. Perhaps redefine what you mean by here versus there, and try to reinforce the belief that you are here, but everything in your environment is here as well. It's not separate from you, it's not out there. Notice perception takes place right here. Spend some more time in nature, perhaps. Look at nature more closely instead of just walking in nature just for the sake of walking. And what can you do to minimize your impact on the environment? There's a lot you can do. You may already be doing things like recycling or managing how much pollution you put out there. And that's a good start. I'm sure there's a lot you can do. Notice that once you see that connection and stop seeing that separation, and how your environment can negatively or positively have an impact on your physical body, you will automatically start to do your part in keeping your environment as clean as possible, as much as you do to your own home. I notice when I'm driving, I see people who just throw their trash or cigarette butts out the car window without thinking twice about what they're doing. These people fail to see the connection. They only see separation. They throw it out. It's not, I don't care, it's not part of my, it's not near me, it's not a part of my environment. So they fail to see that connection. Companies that pollute the oceans, they fail to see the connection as well. They only see separation. And industries that pillage the earth of its resources whilst damaging the environment and polluting the environment, they fail to see that connection as well. They're only thinking about the money that they can make for now. The future doesn't matter to them. So be more conscious about the fact that your environment can have a negative impact on yourself and your family. So treat it as if it's a part of your own physical body, because it is. And that separation that you see is only your mind fooling you. It's only perception fooling you. And you're failing to look at the big picture. Remember, it's not so much that the environment is an extension of your physical body, as it is your physical body that is an extension of the planet. You came from the planet. The planet didn't come from you.